It's Monday, April 9th. That means it's a new Sega News Bits Extra episode. I'm going to be hosting this episode until the very end, where Barry will take over and take everything from me. So let's start off. How was your week, Barry?
It's been going well. I haven't been playing too many games, but I did see Ready Player One last week, actually, as we record this. And Sonic's in it for like 2 seconds in 2 different scenes. So that's the news on that.
So you went to go see it, like, did you go to see it because you wanted to see the movie, or did you go because you're like, maybe they'll have Sonic in it?
I just wanted to check it out. I haven't been to a movie in a while because I have like a baby in the house. So my parents were visiting, my dad suggested it, and I was like, yeah, let's go. So we went to the VIP 21 plus section of the fancy theater and checked it out. I liked the movie. I thought it would be tons of like Wreck-It Ralph video game references, but it was just like pop culture in general.
That's what I've heard, basically.
Yeah. So I love the villain, Ben Mendelsohn. He was in Rogue One, and he plays a real, like, you know, in the 80s when we had great actors who played the villains in like every movie. Yeah. He's like one of those, but now, like, I want him to be the villain in every movie I see. He's
maybe
great.
Maybe he'll be the villain in the new Sonic movie.
I'd love it. That'd be great. He could play Snively.
But let's get right into the Sega news, because now we're just going to be talking about our day for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So the first bit of news we got here is that Sega unboxed the Yakuza 6, the Song of Life Premium Edition, or what is it called? After Hours Premium Edition.
Yeah.
With the shot glass and all the goodies.
How'd they get their hands on that?
I have no idea. That's what I was going to say. It's made already. This game was supposed to launch last month, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, everything obviously points to that. I heard that maybe there was a manufacturing issue with the disc or something, so they had to like delay it. But they gave me a review copy like a couple days after the incident happened, and I already posted my review. So it's kind of weird that like I've already played this game, but I'm still hyped for this special edition because I just want the packaging so I can put it in my collection, you know?
Yeah.
So, what do you think about the collection?
It looks awesome. It looks really sexy. I love that they did all these little like compartments, and there's all these little, as a designer, seeing all these little package design flourishes. Like, they didn't need to put all these little logos on the inside walls and everything, but they did. And it all looks really nice. The only thing I suspect we will see are people complaining about their glasses getting broken by Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm kind of afraid of that, but they look really well packed in there. The question is, like, will they get crushed by that white styrofoam that they were playing with? One thing that I do, I was going to say, I also had an issue with the Steelbook edition of Kiwami. Yeah.
They all came bent. Like, everybody in our Discord said that theirs came dented. So I'm hoping that they could take care of this one a little bit better.
Yeah. What'd you think of the hosts of the thing?
They're all right.
Yeah, they're okay.
I mean, the host of the video? Yeah, they're all right.
I thought it was funny because they kept in some things that made you not want to buy it. Like when he's like, oh, this thing's stuck, I can't get it out. And it was like 10 minutes later. And it's like, do you really want to sell it that way?
You gotta, they're like more lazier than us on editing. Like the last video, we did that video of the IDW comic.
Yeah.
I only had like one cut in it because I was too lazy to do more cuts in the video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But good on them for doing more video content. And I think it is going to sell more copies, so whatever works.
The next one we have here is that Shining Resonance Refrain. I almost got excited there when I heard Force.
Yeah.
Only shifted 23,000 units in Japan, and this is only the Japanese version of the game. I mean, well, the PS4 version of the game.
Right.
I think Japan isn't getting the Switch version until later. They're not getting an Xbox One version over there. And that's pretty much a failure, and I think it's been something that Sega has had happen like this whole year, because like Valkyrie Chronicles 4 has only sold 72,029 copies on the PS4, and the Fist of the North Star game barely broke. How much did it do? 156,805 units, and that one was supposed to. I think they said in the financial reports they wanted it to sell like at least 500,000. It's not going to get there in Japan, at least.
Wow.
And Far Cry 5 launched, and this debut of Far Cry 5 already beat 2 Sega games at 75,474 units. So what do you think? You think that Sega is, Sega Japan is probably, you think they're going to switch directions they're going with? Because I like this direction they're going with, but to me it seems that Japan doesn't give a crap.
I mean, they need to market to a worldwide audience, and I think they know that. We've been seeing that with some of the releases where, like Valkyria Chronicles 4, it's maybe not doing, selling gangbusters in Japan, but it's going to be coming over here, and I think people will really love it over here. Shining Resonance Refrain, I'm on the fence about, because we all want Shining Force. Not everyone. Yeah. There are fans of the Resonance games and all those, but it's like, it's kind of like Shining has gone in the direction of Valkyria Revolution, right?
Right, yeah.
And
it's like they want to sell it by art. Like, I don't know, I guess they're more interested in selling merchandise than they are selling actual games.
Yeah. And I think I think people catch on to that. Like, sell games that people want. Don't sell like like anime quasi hentai kind of, stuff. I don't know. It's just like there's such the Shining Force games had such a beautiful art style that, like, right now Dragon Ball Z is like big again. Revive it, bring it back. I think there's a lot of people right now nostalgia for the old anime style. Oh, for sure.
It's been a while since we've kind of seen that, because like in anime in the 80s and in the early 90s there was like a lot of different art styles, and right now everything looks exactly kind of the same. I don't want to be saying everything, because there's obviously going to be like a few animes, but like to me every anime has like a little girl that's a schoolgirl, and then like you know what I mean, and they all have this weird like samey art, and if you put all the characters together, they like, it's like they're picking pieces from a bag of pre-designed assets.
Yeah, but nothing stands out.
But well, talking about tie-ins that were worth it, I guess. What is your thoughts on Sonic Boom 4 years later? I did a post asking the community what they thought. People on Twitter seem to not like it at all. Like, they're like, I hate everything. It makes me angry. But I feel like there was good stuff and bad stuff in Sonic Boom. It was you went to the party, didn't you?
Well, there was the initial release, which was like targeting mommy bloggers and things like that we weren't invited to, and TSSC bitched about. And then there was the Sonic Boom event in New York before, because remember, there was the Sonic Boom event, there's the Sonic Boom song, and there's the Sonic Boom show. And so this was a weird instance where the Sonic Boom event was hosting Sonic Boom the show. So,
okay.
But yeah, I mean, when I was there, the general consensus is that people were just there for the Sonic games, like the main series. And there were a few people going, oh yeah, I think it's pretty cool, it's pretty interesting. But all the people I talked to in line, they were like, yeah, it looks okay. Did you play the demo? Yeah, it's not that great. And then there was there was a section where they had a representative from Tomy, but it wasn't like, hey guys, I'm a cool toy designer. It was more like, hello, my name's Marcia from PR, and I'm here to talk about some of the toys that you're going to see on the shelves. We have Tails as Plane, which, of course, is the title we're putting on the box. The Tornado just didn't test well. It was that kind of discussion.
Yeah.
And then the voice actors were all there, which was really cool, but they were all doing, like, Sonic Boom stuff. Like, I think they were doing live readings. Maybe I'm getting the other event in San Diego confused with the New York one, but it was really pushing the Boom stuff, and it was kind of frustrating because the PR people had to walk it back and go, this is just, remember, I was the first one to ask, what the hell is this? And they were like, it's a branch. And I think because of my question, they went with the branch thing from there on out. They're like, it's a new branch.
A branch? What does that even mean? So it's supposed to be like Classic Sonic, Modern Sonic, and Sonic Boom Sonic? That's what I always thought they were trying to do, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think of it best as like the Ninja Turtles, where we have the classic comics, and then there's the Fred Wolf like cartoon, but then there's the CG animated one, then the 2003 one. And I think differences, Ninja Turtles can exist in those different styles and designs, and people will eat up the one they like, and they're cool with the other one. Like, the new show is coming out, and people are like, it'll be gone in 5 years. If I don't like it, who cares? But this one, it's like, when it happened, people were legitimately afraid. They were, because remember, this is before Sonic Boom. This was after Sonic 4. And so people were like, or Sonic Mania, not Sonic Boom, and so I think a lot of people were like, Sega might be changing direction, and what I think the big mistake on Sonic Boom was that they went all out. It was comics, TV shows, toys, games, and
it was a big launch.
Yeah, and it was a big launch, but the problem was that there was no cohesion. Like, the game was clearly made by people who did not really follow what the TV show was doing. The comics were based on the TV show. The 3DS games were based more on the TV show than the Wii U game. But still, it was all very just kind of like, there was no real like firm story being told. It was just kind of like Sonic lives on an island and Eggman's bad. And I'm like, well, then just have the regular designs. There's nothing really special here. If anything, you stripped a lot of the mythology. So Knuckles is just some guy. He's not the guardian of anything. And it's... I thought it was really lazy. At the end of it, though, the TV show is the best thing to come out of it, in my opinion. It's a good show.
I think it's a good show. It has witty writing. It's entertaining. Yeah. But like, a lot of people really don't like it when you change Sonic. You change all these characters are staples. They can't take the idea that this character could have a relaunch or a representation of itself in another medium that's totally different.
Yeah.
So it's going to be weird how they're going to do the movie when it comes out supposedly next year.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the real thing, because, with the movie, what I think they're going to do with the movie is what they're doing with the IDW comics, which is smart, which is, as we discussed on the last extra, it's building off of the games. So it's like the games and then some. And I think that's probably what they're going to do with the movie. I think if the movie's successful, then they might shift the comics, like maybe include some of those plot elements. I don't know. I'm very confused about this whole movie thing. The fact that they're like, we're shooting soon in Georgia or whatever, and it's like, really? Is Green Hill Zone over there? What's going on? I know they have studio space out there. Like, there's movie studios, like, so you could film entirely inside. It's not like they're on the streets of the city or anything.
Yeah, it's probably tax breaks they get over there.
Yeah, for sure. Because I think they're on the same equator, so you're getting that that's the same kind of weather. You're just on a different coast. I think that's how it's kind of working out for people. That's why there's a big industry out there. So let's move on to the last bit of news, and this one's going to be you'll take this one. This is sensitive material. I don't know if I want to touch it too much. I'm sorry if I'm smiling.
Go for it.
Shit. So this is the drama section, and the funny thing is, when we did the last extra, George was saying, yeah, we'll cover drama, and I was like, we don't really do that. There's not much drama going on. Like, what happened? Ian Flynn was mad at TSSZ on Twitter,
yeah,
not that interesting. But then April 1st hit, and we did not do an April Fool's gag, and not because we're better than anyone, but I mean, full disclosure, we had some recording problems, and we lost it. And so that'll be a Sega Talk coming down the line. I still want to do that one. It was a Sega Talk for an unexpected game. I'm not going to say which one, but I think it's going to bug a lot of people when we do it. And so we'll get to it. But Sega Nerds, they did something. They posted an article. So Sega Nerds writer, The Requiem, posted an article, and the headline was Sega Nerds contributor on leave following harassment allegations. And strangely enough, the URL says Yakuza 6 demo reaction. So I don't know if they were going to do some sort of gotcha, oh guys, check out the demo reactions, whatever. But they should have anyway. So all right, so the article opens up and he's mocking the Me Too movement. He says it's sometimes referred to as the Pound Me Too movement, because the pound sign, but it kind of comes off as please, pound me too, sexual. And then he starts talking about how, the entertainment industry's been filled with this and Sega Nerds are now hit with it. He uses NerdBot, which is a fake writer that they use for their advertorials, which is another thing that I don't like about their site. Oh, did I mention I don't like Sega Nerds? So they would have NerdBot write these things. It's like casino gaming on the rise. And we get emails from these sorts of places, and they will say to us, we'll give you $50 if we can post one of these. And we're like, no, because that's bullshit, and it makes our site look like crap. And I think, who's that guy with the top hat who stands at a podium and is British? Didn't he bitch about that recently?
Top Hat Gaming?
No, the Jimquisition.
Oh, Jimquisition. Yeah, Jim Sterling.
And I don't agree with him on a lot of things, but I agree with him on that. And he was actually calling out, I think, the same people that reach out to Sega Nerds. So anyway,
casino people.
Yeah, and so they were. So this article here is saying like he's pretending to interview these people. And so apparently another writer who's named Hawk Clay, and the weird thing is this guy's only written 3 reviews for them, and he has no social media presence. I don't know who he is. The only thing I found was an email. So I did reach out to him and say, hey, dude, do you know that they used your information on this? Did you approve this? No reply from him. However, after I sent that email, his information disappeared from the staff page. His articles are still there, but he's not listed. Weird. So maybe that's not, him. I don't know. So basically, he's being interviewed, and he's claiming that Nerdbot would say, I'll say it, suck my dick. Like, they I don't know why they started out. Like, for as dirty and stupid as this article is, they start out the word suck and dick. I don't know why. Then he goes on, he does this, like, the Room thing where he's like, I did not do it, I did not. Like, this is a Requiem thing. He'll take something that's funny or kind of like funny, like, Borat, my wife, and he'll, like, work it in. You know these types of guys who are like, I'm a comedian. Oh, how are you a comedian? Because I quoted something funny.
Remember, this is like the movie quotes where, like, remember back in the 90s, you had that friend in school that would always do the Austin Powers impressions, and you're like, okay, enough.
Wasn't my friend. And then he goes on and he, like, talks to Graham, who is their European guy, and he does this stupid, like, oh, bloody hell, Requiem. You know what time it is over here, Governor? And then he talks to Chris, and Chris is the editor-in-chief, head of Sega Nerds. You worked with him for a while. I was a member of the Sega Nerds community for some time before Sega Bits, and yet Chris doesn't remember who I am, so it's kind of like a Homer Simpson, Mr. Burns thing, where it's like, he can't remember my name. And so and there's this whole quote that's seemingly from Chris. And Chris, if you are writing an April Fool's article that's this edgy, quote unquote, and you're making these big quotes from the editor-in-chief, the editor-in-chief is clearly signing this off. It's not like being posted and he's like, oh my God, what happened? How did this get here? And so this, Chris is like saying, and you can read this whole thing. If you go to twitter.com/SegaNerd, not Sega Nerds, Sega Nerd, it's an account that has only tweeted this. And I don't know what, beautiful brown-haired hot dog wearing guy made this account, but
I wonder.
I mean, I'm wearing a hot dog shirt, but I'm not referring to myself. And so you can read this whole thing, but it's just a mess. It's not funny. It's stupid. It's something that the Requiem, as a writer, has been doing since, I think, 2014 on this site. And Chris, he has a terrible sense of humor. I don't think he has a sense of humor. I think he is the guy who's, like, chuckling at the guy who thinks he has a sense of humor. And so Requiem will post all these articles, and they're all terrible. They're called One-on-One with the Requiem. They're fake interviews with Sega characters. Now, one of the things I pride ourselves on at Sega Bits, even though we haven't been doing a lot of interviews recently, we take the time and effort to actually interview people in the industry who say interesting things, and we talk to, people all walks of life, whatever. We don't discriminate. And yet, this guy, he's like, I'm going to waste time on the site writing fake interviews with video game characters. And every single fucking time, it's offensive, but it's not like, haha, offensive. It's like, I'm interviewing Earl from Toe Jam and Earl. Oh, he's kind of black, so I'm going to have him talk black and talk about fucking bitches and saying motherfucker and all this shit. And then he's interviewing... or are you going to say something? I'm kind of getting so foxy.
Well, I was going to say... yeah, I know. You're getting really worked up. I was just going to say, okay, so...
Yeah.
Comedy is a very hard thing to do, right?
Yeah.
Especially on the internet. Like, this is something that a lot of people have to, figure out. And he tried to use, like, what's his name? Stephen Fry?
Yeah.
A quote from him saying that people shouldn't be offended. Okay, here's the issue. you got to be talented at how you present a joke. Like, I'm not saying you can't make a joke about the Me Too movement. I mean, personally, I would not make a joke about the Me Too movement because I don't think there's anything funny about people in power taking advantage of other people. Mm-hmm. But if you do, you have to have an actual, like, setup that's smart.
Yeah.
And a zinger in the end that's actually funny and it makes people think after they leave the site. It's like Dave Chappelle or Bill Burr.
Yeah.
Like they're good comedians because after they say something that's controversial, it makes you really rethink in your head, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, maybe I have to think about it differently. When I read this, I'm just like, this is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
This is not funny.
Yeah, and thanks for cutting in because, you know, what I was basically, and I'm glad you did because I was just going to go off on him on all the articles he wrote, but you know, basically he like finger bangs a Genesis Model 1. He interviews Bayonetta but claims that he's gay and so he's not attracted to her, and then at the end he's like, oh, I'm actually not gay, but I was just trying to use this as like a way to get in your pants, and it's like, you know, and it goes on. And so this guy, he's not funny, he's an idiot. And you know, here's the thing, like I work with people in my professional life. I've interacted with people in the fan community who do not share my political beliefs, who have said some things that I would deem a little sexist or racist. But I mean, I don't know.
Are you talking about me?
No, I'm not talking about you.
I'm just joking.
But I never. I don't think I've ever looked at that and like thought that was appropriate. Like I call it out when I see it, and I choose not to work with those types of people. And what I'm getting at is that Chris encountered this type of person multiple times, the same person doing the same things multiple times, never called him out on it, leaves comments saying, you know, like, ha ha ha, this is great, you're great, I love your writing, this is so good. Like, you can look through their previous stuff that's still on the site, and Chris will, you know, he'll be like, oh, this is great, I love it, you're so funny. And in the past he's attacked me, saying I don't have a sense of humor because I'm attacking the Requiem, who does not. And so anyway, long story short, they posted this thing up. A bunch of people hated it. Reset Era hated it. Brad Flick, who's a designer on Sonic Mania, hated it. Tons of people in the fan community were just calling him out, saying this is bullshit, take this down, fire the writer. So as of, I think, the day after, the Requiem was gone. He's fired from the site, so that's done.
Bye.
Thank God that finally happened. But it happened. The thing is, it didn't happen because Chris was offended by what was being said. No, he was offended because it was hurting their brand. Because as soon as people from Sonic Mania and as soon as people who were in the streaming community were tagging SEGA and other people saying you guys shouldn't work with these people anymore, that's when they fired him. And I'm trying to find... They did an apology. It's a really weak attempt at an apology. And
you know what's funny?
Yeah.
If you actually Google Sega Nerds now, one of the top results in the first page is actually the Reset Era thread. So it's not very good for them, no.
No. And they buried the apology, too. They posted it. It's like a screen capture, so you can't copy and paste any of it. And it's buried under a bunch of articles. It wasn't pinned. And so I think it's fair to them. I'll just read the apology real quick and then we'll wrap this up. Recently, a satirical article was published on our website that did not adhere to our standards, and it was subsequently removed. Sega Nerds prides itself on covering all things Sega in a fun and humorous way, and this article missed the mark. Social politics have no place on our website, and we strive to create a culture of inclusiveness and not one of divisiveness. With that said, we have made internal apologies changes to ensure that an article like that will never be published in the future on the website. We will do our best to be better and ensure Sega Nerds is a place where people can come to enjoy our content. Well, the problem with this is that I'm not seeing any sorry there. Like, I can't see it. I don't see the word SORRY. I'm also seeing that they didn't blame the content of the article. They just said social politics don't have a place, as though that article was just social politics. It wasn't a really bad attempt at humor, mocking sexual assault, victims.
Or the fact that somebody or one of the managing editors didn't catch it before it went live.
Right. They say it did not adhere to our standards. However, there are worse articles than that already existing in previous ones, in all those one-on-ones that Chris was clearly okay to post. So anyway,
and commented that he liked.
Yeah, and so this, I wanted to add this on here. I had no idea that this would be the drama overtaking our first exclusive Patreon one. So if you didn't like this, I'm sorry, but I had to get it out there. And you know, next week we'll definitely be covering just, I think, more straight up Sega news. But is there anything else you wanted to say on this?
I just want to hear you guys' feedback. What you guys want from the show? If you guys want more news or you guys want more drama, do you guys want to hear us talk about our opinions on stuff? Whatever you guys want to, just let us know. Feedback. See you guys in the next episode.
Thanks for watching.